This is your one and only 𝙊𝙪𝙩𝙧𝙤 with your daily dose of video goodness, and welcome to some more Atlas news. Okay, so first off, as you can see, just in case you were not aware of, it has been delayed. It was supposed to be released on the 13th, and now we're hoping for the 19th. And we have 5 days, 4 hours, and 23 minutes at the current time of making this video. So they have released a bunch of new information about it, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Mainly, we're going to be looking at some of the screenshots they've released, some of the stuff they've said in Twitter posts, and what we can glean from that information. So we're going to start off taking a look at Twitter. The first Twitter post we are taking a look at here is from the official Atlas Twitter. I'll put a link down to it in the description if you're not already following it. It's at @SailTheAtlas if you just want to go type that in now and not click the link. So the first thing they post here, and this is just talking about the delay, but what I want to talk about here is the screenshot, because we can get a lot of information from this screenshot and what they say. So they say, deep within an uncharted jungle, a lone adventurer 𝐤𝐭 climbs across a vast chasm on her way to lost treasure, while a wild bear and exotic bird roam far below. So let's take a closer look at this screenshot. So here's a much more zoomed in version of this screenshot. So if you take a look down here, you can see that we got the bear. That's probably the bear and the bird that they're talking about. Looks like there's another one here, or if we zoom in a little bit more, that may be a cat. Possibly. It doesn't look too much like a bear. This one looks a little chunkier, and this one here looks a little skinnier. But what I find interesting is this flower shape here looks very reminiscent of flowers that we saw in 𝐸ℵ. And if I'm not mistaken, I think those are the ones that spawn in the swamps and give like the plant X and Y seeds in some of the different maps. So it looks like we may have a reused texture there. And I've mentioned the reused textures before, but we'll see in some of these other screenshots, there's some buildings that I'm almost 100% positive are player built, and they're stone, but it looks like they updated the stone texture from 𝐸ℵ. Another interesting thing here is I'm not sure if this is part of the map or if this is actual player built structure hanging on the side of a cliff. It's kind of difficult to tell because of the way it is, and we see a lot of these structures in other screenshots, but there's no positive identifier that it's not part of the map and that it's player built structure. So I guess we'll have to wait and see, but it's kind of cool. They got like the bridge going across there, and you kind of wonder how they get up there. But the other really cool thing that we're going to take a look at here is that she's climbing across this with 2 climbing picks. So this is almost taken directly from 𝐸ℵ with the ability to climb with the climbing picks. So, I mean, yeah, obviously we're going to have the capabilities to climb just like we do in 𝐸ℵ with a set of climbing picks. So you can see she's got one in both hands, one there and one attached there. So the mechanic is probably going to be almost the same, if not identical to the way we climb in 𝐸ℵ. So then the next screenshot we have has the caption, at a western tropical Freeport, a captain works on making repairs to her boat while her lieutenant buys some fresh fishing bait under the stony gaze of an imposing Discovery Zone monument. I'm not sure what they mean by Discovery Zone, but you can see they capitalized that. So that has to share some type of importance. Maybe it's like an additional experience spot. Like once you uncover it, you get experience kind of similar to the Explorer notes in 𝐸ℵ maybe. I'm not 100% sure there, but there's some information that we can get from this screenshot. Not as much as we're going to get from others, but there's a little bit. So let's take a closer look at that. All right, so here we have the screenshot, and we can get a closer look at the so-called Discovery Zone up here. It's just like a skull with a waterfall coming out of it. Looks like we have some structures back here, but this is what they refer to, this whole area they stated was a Freeport town. So you can see this structure here is obviously a town and not player built. That's why it gets kind of confusing to distinguish what is player built and what's not, because they use the same textures for stuff, which is cool because it creates cohesiveness throughout the game, but it kind of makes it a little difficult to get a lot of information from these screenshots. So you can see we have a parrot up here. We got an elephant in the background. So we're going to definitely have elephants. We've seen those before. And if we come over here, she has a hammer. So I'm wondering if that tool is what takes you into the ability to customize your ship, or if that's like a repair hammer similar to what's seen in Conan Exiles. So you know how you have like the repair hammer and you have to have that to make repairs to stuff, but that's going to be something that we're going to have to wait until release day to figure out. You can see that obviously they've custom named this ship, which they've stated that we're going to be able to do. So we'll get to custom name our ships, which is pretty cool. And that's pretty much all there is to pull from this one. I assume a lot of this that you see around here is just looky-loo stuff and none of it has any real effects on anything. Now these two images here, we can actually pull a good amount of information from. We're going to start off with the caption. Deep within the eastern temperate region, an intense battle takes place as a company furiously defends their mountain fortress against a cavalry charge aided by mobile field artillery. All right, let's take a look at these two images. So here is the first image. So of course, as we already know, we're going to be able to put cannons on the back of horse-drawn carriages. That's going to be a thing. So we'll have mobile artillery. You can see this dude back here has a flintlock pistol. Pretty much every image that we've seen so far, all of the guns in it appear to be flintlock. So it looks like pretty much everything is going to be single shot style weaponry. But the next image here shows a little bit of something that I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm a little worried about, but we're going to continue on here. So obviously this is apparently player built because this is what they say they are defending. So as you can see here, it's the same textures that you see in the towns. So it's going to be difficult to know what is already on the map as a pre-built town and what are player built towns for someone who is jumping new into the game. You may, months down the line, somebody may be picking this up, jump into a game, go to an island, think that that is a Freeport town, and then find out that no, that's actually player built structure because there's no clear identifiers between the two. That's about it for that one. Now this next photo, this is the one, this here, see this here? This worries me a little bit. That's a Gatling gun. That is a turreted Gatling gun. So this is the first image that we're seeing of something that is more than just a flintlock single shot option. This is obviously a Gatling gun. You can see the multiple barrels that are rotating through the chamber here, and it is obviously a turret. So that makes me wonder if we're going to get multi-shot pistols, because if they have the technology for the Gatling gun, then they obviously have the technology for revolvers. And at that point, I wonder how far they're going to take it. Then we have a couple different types of rifles here. You can see this dude has the blunderbuss shotgun style with the big flared N on it. This dude seems to have a similar rifle to the one that is here, maybe a little bit longer. This one appears to be slightly snub-nosed compared to this one, maybe? They might be the same. This appears to be more of a single shot sniper rifle long range style, but I love the detail on the modeling. I mean, look at the detail on the modeling. It's absolutely fantastic. It has the leather grip and everything. And as you can see, all of these are the normal single shot flintlock style. So you make your shot, then you dump in the gunpowder charge, then you dump in the bullet, you pack it, and then you fire it. So interesting there. And then we got the guy over here on a horse. Looks like he's got his arms crossed, like he's laughing at them trying to shoot at him. And you can see the more of this structure up here kind of expands down and around through this way too, which is pretty cool. Not a whole lot to pick out from the background here, just really gorgeous scenery. The main thing that I pulled from this was this right here. This concerns me a little bit. If this is the most we have as far as multi-shot, I'll be happy, but I'm going to be kind of disappointed if we start seeing more advanced techie stuff. I liked the idea of being stuck with single shot flintlock stuff, but this is obviously a multi-shot turret. Let me know down in the comments how you feel about this. If you like the idea, if you don't like the idea. I know a lot of people are like really craving that primitive style gameplay, And I'm one of those people. I'm with you. Like, I love the idea of the primitive style gameplay, but if we have multi-shot turret, then it wouldn't be too far-fetched to have revolvers, although I have yet to see any revolvers. Now, this one gives us a lot of information as well. The caption says, across a narrow inland river bridge, two naval officers duel unto death. The duelist able to load ammo quicker, both statistically via character progression and also skillfully through active reload minigame, emerges victorious with a dual-wielding blast. Now, that's a lot of information. There's a lot of information here. So first off, both statistically, that tells us that we're going to have options. And back when I made the first video, I stated that when they mentioned what was it, 300 some skills or 500 skills, however many it was, go watch the other video or look at it on Steam. When they mentioned those skills, I stated that has the chance to be stuff like you can reload faster, you take less time firing, you know, little things that make a difference in overall character progression over time, but aren't skills that you think of in the terms of, you know, the ability to fish, the ability to do this, the ability to lay a trap, the ability to whatever. So it looks like that's what that's going to be. We're probably going to have a vast skill tree that has little tweaks in it and perks to the way you play your character. So for example, you have a steadier hand when trying to load during the active reload minigame. So I'll get into that here when we take a look at the screenshots. Speaking of, let's move on to the screenshots. So here's the first one, and when they mention the active reload minigame, there's one of two ways this is going to go down. I can almost guarantee it. Mark this spot in the video, remember it, so you can come back and go, oh yeah, Fire was right. Fire's almost always right. So one of two things is going to happen here. They're not showing the HUD on the screen. So what could happen is that when you go to reload, you have to tap the WAS and D key. It's going to be like you tap the button max 3 or 4 times and you load, and that's you lining up with the barrel. So, you know, it'd be like WWWD. And you have to tap it when it shows up on the screen, and that reloads, and then you're good to go. The other thing they can do for this active reload minigame, and I'm almost positive that's a screenshot of what we're seeing right here. Pouring the powder into the actual thing is probably part of the overall minigame. The other thing that they could do is this hand is controlled by the mouse. And it's a Surgeon Simulator style shenanigans going on there where your mouse controls the hand. This is probably steady, and you have to dump the powder into it and then drop the ball in, and so on and so on. So if they take it as far as dumping the powder in, they're probably going to take it as far as dumping the ball in and priming the charge before you're able to fire. But I have a feeling it's one of two things. It's either going to be tap the key. I hope it's at max like 3 keys, because if it's any longer than that, it's going to be a complete pain in the butt and stupid. Or it's going to be control dumping it in. So basically you click the mouse button to turn the hand to dump it, and then you line it up with your mouse. So this basically, when you're in this screen here or you're seeing this hand to reload, your mouse actually controls where this hand moves. So we'll have to wait and see, but that's my hypothesis for it. It's, I mean, just games in general, and my knowledge of games in general tells me that it's more than likely going to be one of those two things. Other than that, you can see another animal here in the back. So we have an ox. So far we've got oxes, horses, elephants, bears, parrots, monkeys, because they mentioned monkeys, possibly cats of some sort, because we're not 100% sure what that was in the previous picture that we looked at. So we're looking pretty good on the animals. We're gonna, and chickens. We saw chickens in the trailer. So we're getting a lot of different animals, which is pretty cool. And then other than that, that's about it. There's a structure here in the back that could possibly be player built. I hope it is player built, because man, that's beautiful. Look at that. Builders are going to have an absolute field day if this is the structures that we get to build with. That is gorgeous. Okay, moving on to the next shot. So you can see in this shot, he actually managed to fire off both pistols at this guy, hit him with both of them. This guy doesn't look like he was loading 2 pistols, only looks like he was loading 1. These pistols appear to be identical. Once again, they are flintlock style, which is pretty cool. This dude's appears to be flintlock as well. Looks almost identical to these. These are probably early game pistols that you can get your hands on, I would assume. And that's pretty much all we can pull from that one. This screenshot is captioned, "Having traveled to an exotic island filled with ancient Gold Age ruins, a veteran pathfinder blasts a blunderbuss into the scaly hide of a gorgon." Okay, there's not too much that we can pull from this one, but there's one thing that I want to take a look at when we zoom in and I want to talk about. All right, so first thing we can take a look at here is obviously the gorgon, which they mentioned. So we know that we are going to have gorgons. Once again, another absolutely gorgeous gun here. Like, look at the, so detailed on the modeling. They did a fantastic job on the modeling for this one. But what I want to draw your attention to is down here in the corner. If you don't take a close look, you may have missed it. This sword is covered in fire. See this? Look at it. It's got like a glow to it, and there's a little bit of a like glint there as well. But the overall sword has a little like fiery glow to it. What that tells us is that they do have the capability to have enchanted swords in the game, and we are more than likely going to get the capability to enchant our swords, but that sword for sure is definitely enchanted. So these are obviously player characters because they're shooting the gorgon, and it's just straight obvious that they're player characters. So that means we're going to have enchantments. So we know that we can enchant swords. I'm wondering if we're going to get the capability to enchant other things. Obviously, daggers are probably a go. Guns would be very interesting, whether or not we're going to be able to enchant guns. So that's something that, yeah, very interesting. And I think a lot of people may have missed. I have not seen anybody else talk about that. And if you don't really pay attention, you won't really catch it because it's a rather faint glow. But that is obviously, I mean, it's more than obvious that that is a glow on that sword, which we know is already a thing for the enemies. And obviously we're going to get the capability as well. It could also be a situation where that is not an enchantment that we can place on a sword, but just an enchanted sword that was found. So that's something to keep in mind. We may not get the actual capability to enchant items, but we may get the capability to treasure, find treasure chests that do have enchanted items in them. All right, the most recent image we have here is captioned, "A team geared with gliders soars off the coast of a mysterious jungle island." So we're getting gliders. Heck yeah. I'm hoping that this is the only flight that we have available to us. I really hope that we don't get the capability to, because we know there's dragons. I'm hoping we don't get the capability to ride dragons, just because the limited flight will make for interesting gameplay, not to mention a whole team of people flying over the seas, lighting ships on fire with dragons just sounds horrible to me because it's extremely OP, and then everybody's just going to be riding on dragons. So I really hope that this is the only kind of flight that we get, just this glider flight, and it's pretty cool that we're actually getting that. Let's take a closer look at this image and see what we can pull from it. So the first thing I noticed is it looks like we might be able to dye the gliders. You can see this one is white, this one's red, and this one is green, so that's pretty interesting. And I'm wondering how long a flight that they actually give to us, because they look rather complex. So it'd be neat if it's a little more than the gliders that we get in ARK, like a little more of an extended flight. You know what I mean? Like maybe the capability to go almost across an island, but you wouldn't want to take it out into the ocean because at some point you're going to hit water and be stuck. Other than that, we got a cool structure here in the back. Looks like it's carved out of the side of the mountain. Kind of got that skull theme to it. Looks like we're seeing that a lot. Nothing really to see down here on the beach, just some palm trees. No creatures of any sorts or anything like that, but that's mainly all there is to pull from this one, some open ocean. It's an absolutely gorgeous photo, and we're seeing a lot of really amazing screenshots. I cannot wait to see some more screenshots from players once it's been released, but that's pretty much it for this one. I don't know about you all, but I am extremely excited for this game. I cannot wait. The more I see and the more I learn about it, the more excited I get. Drop down there in those comments and let me know what you think about what we've discovered with these posts and taking a closer look at these screenshots. I'm interested to know how you all feel about all that stuff and what you all think. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. If you like what you saw, consider hitting that sub button. I want to give a big thank you to my patrons for making this episode possible. You all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to join my elite crew of Patreon supporters, please check out the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like the comment, just hit that thumbs up button and show your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.